Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Barksdale Resources MidSummer webinar and company update. The current slide deck is available, downloadable on the company website. So please visit our website for the deck and learn more about Barksdale. First, a forward-looking statement. Please read and understand what this statement says, as I will be making forward-looking statements. Barksdale operates in two jurisdictions. The Sunnyside project is located in Arizona, southern Arizona, and the San Javier project is located in Sonora, Mexico. I plan to focus on the Sunnyside project today for this update. As you can see, the locations, Tucson, south of Tucson, about an hour right into Patagonia is our Sunnyside project. And then less than a half day's drive south of there into Mexico is the location of the San Javier project. Of note, the Sunnyside project, obviously located in Arizona. Arizona has recently been named by the Fraser Institute the 5th best jurisdiction to operate in the world. So that's pretty important. Slide 5. This is somewhat of this is an overview of the project. The first, the property outlines of Barksdale's properties are represented by the dark blue polygons, and our neighbor South 32 by the gray polygons. Since entering the district in 2017 through our 51-49 joint venture agreement with Regal Resources, Barksdale has expanded our regional footprint through acquisition of the Canelo, Goat Canyon, San Antonio, Four Metals, and Guanajuato properties. During the same time period, South 32 has expanded their district footprint as well to the east of the original claims, to the east and northeast, east and southeast of the San Antonio claim group, and to the east and northeast of Canelo. The call-out box on the right lists some of the important attributes of each property that is in the Barksdale stable. In the coming slides, I'm going to attempt to persuade you why Barksdale and the Patagonia district has enormous growth potential. First, our neighbor. Our immediate neighbor, as you saw in the previous slide, is South 32, and who's currently constructing their Hermosa project. Spun out of BHP Billiton, South 32 is a multinational critical metals producer. They acquired Arizona Mining in 2018 to obtain this Hermosa project. They have spent or have committed to spend $4 billion in acquisition and construction commitments to get this mine up and running. Currently, it shows these stats are about a year old, but a 28-year mine life. I believe that's been expanded to over 30 with further discoveries by them on their properties. I expect that to go even longer. Importantly, the photos at the bottom of the slide show the construction of their facilities in progress. Of note is the center photo that shows production and ventilation shafts as of a year ago. This photo was available to us, but these shafts are much more completed and moving right along towards production. I think they're looking at the end of 2027. Of note in the center slide here is the ground that you see undisturbed all around the perimeters of this photo on the top and right-hand side of it. That is Barksdale's ground. So we are that close. Also, I looked this up last night. So they're all in sustaining cash costs for production of zinc after all the credits is 16 cents in their estimations. Currently, zinc trades at 126, $1.26. So they've got a huge cash flow coming in the coming years, and we think Barksdale Properties could perhaps contribute similar numbers. So my name's, of course, William Wulftange. I came on to assume the role of CEO of Barksdale and following the departure of Rick Trotman in February of this year. The most important accomplishment that we've managed to make so far this year is to complete the structural, the contractual commitments and maintain the 51% ownership of Sunnyside. We have provided Regal, our partner, 49% partner, all the documentation to support our earn-in requirements. And following acceptance of these numbers and footage and spend, we plan to go to 67.5% ownership. We're currently working on a drill. This will entail another drill program. Currently planned for the fall of 2025, and we look to complete probably 25,000 feet within this program. And we are looking for drill contractors as we speak, and starting to plan that program. So what our theory here, and I think this is strongly supported, is we have one mineral system here that has created deposits on both our property and South 32's property. Understanding the geologic setting is crucial to understanding the potential of the Sunnyside project and the driving forces responsible for mineral deposits on Barksdale and South 32's property. Please note, importantly here, the gold tan outline of the Sunnyside porphyry in the center of the slide. This has been identified by many as the driving force, the heat engine that has brought all the mineralization into this region. So first, to understand the geology, I'm going to go through on the left a geologic map published by Peter Vickery in Econ Geology 109 in 2014. And my description of the geology, I'll try and do my best, but is going to start from the lower left of this slide and continue up to the center right. So it's very important. You'll see why in a moment. Why we have this great opportunity at Sunnyside. To begin with the south, as I said, the lower left, we have older Precambrian granitic rocks to the southwest of this image in gray. Okay, so the Jurassic granitic rocks, green, and tertiary Washington Camp granites, stippled in pink, occupy the ground as we move to the northeast. These units come in contact with Jurassic Cretaceous volcanics and the Haw-Shaw Creek northwest trending fault. Very important structure, perhaps the most important structure in this entire district. The Paleozoic carbonates are in blue just on the northeast side of this structure, and are the carbonates are north of the fault are host to the Taylor, Peak, and Clark deposits. I think most who are following the South 32 story in Barksdale understand that these are the surface outcrops of the mineral deposits at depth. The lithologies to the north in the salmon and pink colors are the Laramide age rhyolite and silicic intermediate volcanic rocks, centered around Red Mountain. And importantly, again, the tan ovoid along the Hawshaw Creek fault is composed of the QFP intrusive rocks, Laramide age. So they are projected to be in place around 61 to 58 million years ago. And then also the diatreme breccias and tertiary volcanics that represent the multi-phase intrusive activity in this area. Important takeaways of this geology, and this is typical copper porphyry type model and depositional characteristics, is the location of the multi-phase intrusive complex is on Barksdale's property. That brown ovoid that I pointed out previously and represented here by the brown and tan is the driving force of the mineralization in this district, and it is completely located on Barksdale's property. Comment on the landslide on the right. You can see the Barksdale's ground. You can see Hermosa's project, their deposits, Taylor, Peak, Clark, and their new interest flux all align along this structure, and it all goes right by the porphyry. Next slide. This is just in case you don't fully understand the model. This is a cross section. This is just a hand drafted model by many. This one happens to be by Richard Silito and published in 2010. But this has been the model for porphyry style mineralization for a number of years. Important here is the slide in the center of the drawing shows a multi-episodic porphyry intrusive rising up from depth, coming in contact with carbonate rocks. Those are the lithologies, or the what appears to be bricks aligned to the left of to the right of the porphyry intrusive, and other. When the intrusive comes in contact with these rocks, in our particular case, they have all sorts of possibilities for mineralization if all the conditions are right. The types of mineralization that you can find within those carbonate rocks include, for instance, set-hosted distal disseminated. That would be Carlin style mineralization. Nobody's noted that yet. Like carbonate replacement or CRD type mineralization, zinc, lead, silver, copper, plus or minus gold. This is what these are mainly what the targets are on the South 32 project, the Taylor deposit, the Peak deposit, down dip of the surface outcrops, distal skarn, proximal skarn, chalcocite blanket, and porphyry. All of these latter deposits, including all five of those, in fact, are types of mineralization that we find on Barksdale's property. So let's go to Barksdale's property. Let's talk about Barksdale. This is a section that we have in the slide deck that shows almost the exact geology that you just saw in the previous model. We have a porphyry, feldspar porphyry on the left that's intruded all these dipping carbonate units in the light blue and blue colors that have the intrusive activity has created the Taylor deposit and the recently discovered Peak deposit and many other deposits. But look at what we have. The inset at the bottom left of this, bottom right, excuse me, of this slide shows a cross-sectional line that goes through the Taylor deposit and then comes on to Barksdale's ground. We have published, we are showing here the holes that have been drilled on Barksdale's ground. And again, I'm not going to go through all these assays, but in our latest round of drilling, deep drilling, is Sun 24002B, did hit carbonate units, did hit mineralization, including 10.5 meters of 0.8% copper, 4.3% combined copper and combined zinc and lead, almost 7% manganese, and 253 grams of silver. And this was within a broader 84 meter section, but the 10.5 meter high grade zone is pointed below.
I just want to jump in real quick, give you a chance to take a sip of water. Go ahead and use I've got a couple questions here that we'll queue up at the end, but go ahead and put your questions in the Q&A that's at the bottom of your screen, and we'll get to those at the end. But William, back to you.
Okay. Okay, so we saw in the previous slide the very strong similarity. I mean, it's textbook copper porphyry mineralization, skarn type mineralization, and whatnot. What is our second half strategy? The second half strategy revolves around acceptance of the 51% earn-in stipulations, which will happen, and then targeting 67.5% ownership as the main goal for our next drill program. We plan on testing, we have tested earlier this year the near surface chalcocite deposits, and follow-up drilling there are other areas on our property that we can get to and do the same again, target and test some of these chalcocite deposits. We're going to target and test the deeper the mid-level porphyry that we believe we can reach with the current drill plans, and we're going to surpass that 67.5%. So this is a broad outline, as you see, stippled lines and brownish tan coloration of the chalcocite target area and where we feel we can target and test various historic chalcocite occurrences. Of note, the historic holes are represented in black stick pins, and the green stick pins are proposed zones for testing by Barksdale. Of note, in the lower lower left, there's a picture of what chalcocite actually looks like in the mineral form, just for reference. So again, here's the slide. We're going to test the upper chalcocite zone. We are going to try to get down into the mid-level Sunnyside porphyry, and we're going to leave the deeper porphyry and further testing of the skarn CID target for 2026. Our targets, zoom in on the targets. This is in the central portion of that the chalcocite area. Again, the black holes are previous holes, and the green stick pins are some of our planned holes that we plan to execute in the central portion of that target zone. On the north side of that target zone, as you can see in the inset A to A prime, we've got some geophysical anomalies that we plan on testing as well as structural projections from the World's Fair mine and the Josephine vein. And lastly, for this program, there's a northwest chalcocite zone you can see in the map inset on the left that shows 8A prime. The SU holes, especially SU2, hit a very nice section of copper mineralization, and we plan to follow that up with further down dip testing of those anomalies. So you can see one of the TR4 holes hit some copper. We're going to try and test this target as best we can. Now, on all this drilling, we will be agile, responsive to what we see in the holes. If we're not seeing anything good on a platform where we're going to drill 2 or 3 holes, we may abandon that platform for another site where we feel we have a better chance of hitting targets and improving the value. So, leadership team, as I said, I came on in the beginning of February this year with the departure of Rick Trotman. I've been in the industry since 1982, retired, and then came back for a project prior to this and now this project. I've been on the board for over 5 years of Barksdale. So I've had a lot of experience. I've not been a CEO. I've been a SVP of exploration, reported to some of the great CEOs and companies in the world. So I feel I'm ready for this challenge. Alan Roberts, VP of exploration, Royal School of Mines person, highly recommended by Crescat. He handles all the drilling and targeting on our property to date. Michael Walkirch, U.S. Gold CFO, as well as ours. Nancy Heiser, our Director of External Relations, inside track to the Arizona legislature. Brad Norling, Senior Permitting Consultant. He's been involved in permitting Sunnyside from the beginning, and he works on a consulting basis as well. And then Ira Dawson, who is handling this webinar and is a world-renowned or investor relations person. Capital structure. You can see that I think many of you are familiar with this. I'm going to make a comment as on the convertible debt. It's held by Crescat. Crescat. It's held by Delbrook, Capital Advisors. They have supported us through 2 offerings, one in a couple of years ago for $1.5 million, $2 million. So we paid down $1.5 million, and another recently for $3 million. They are a long-term investor. They are not looking to get in and out of the stock. They're very supportive of Barksdale and intend on sticking with us for the long term. San Javier, this is we need to give pay attention to this project as well. San Javier, during the permitting process of Sunnyside, we were able to pick up and test and actually complete a positive PEA on the project, as you see outlined here with the resources. And it's actually a really good property, and I think it has great potential. There's potential for expansion for many other types of discoveries to be made locally and in the district. This resource is based on $4 copper. We know copper is higher than that right now, and I believe it has an internal IRR, internal rate of return, based on this PEA of over 26%. So it's a good property. It's great. So I, hopefully I've mentioned, or you can see through some of this presentation, that our goal is to create value, bring value back to Barksdale. We traded a much higher rate, and had a much higher value several years ago, and even then, we thought we were quite undervalued. Yeah, we're on the path to regain shareholder value by earning in and getting a higher percentage of Sunnyside. At 10 cents, I feel, and many do as well, and this won't be a surprise statement to anyone, that we're grossly undervalued. I think every company says that, but when we were trading at 70, 80, 90 cents, even there we found that we were shy of what our real value was. At 10 cents, we have a market cap of about somewhere 15 million Canadian. South 32 has committed $4 billion to purchase and develop their mine immediately adjacent to our property, and their deposits go onto our property. We've shown that with the Taylor deposit. If you look at any of South 32's presentations, recent press releases, you can see that they're very intent on expanding Peak to the west, goes right onto our property. They've now talked about putting more money into the Flux deposit, which is right on the north border of our property. They've got a property worth $4 billion. We're worth 15 million. That's ridiculous. Way undervalued. I think what I want to say in recognition of this is, Barksdale management, everybody involved, we recognize that the precipitous decline in the value of Barksdale share price, is unwarranted, and understand the pain that all our long-term investors have felt and endured. And I sincerely apologize for this. We're working very hard to right the ship and bring back value to Barksdale as quickly as possible. We're in a great jurisdiction. We have the right management. We have exploration targets, and we're in the critical metals exploration and discovery and production sector of the minerals industry. We think we're well positioned to gain value and become a great company once again. With that, I'll turn it back over to Ira.
Well, thank you. We've got some questions. We've got a lot of questions, so we'll jump into those in a second here. Go ahead and use the Q&A feature. This is how to reach us. So if I monitor that phone number and the email address, so if you have future questions or want an update, feel free to shoot an email over to us, and we'll set up a time to chat. So let's dive into the questions. The first one, is there a long-term objective to share infrastructure with South 32, thereby reducing overall costs?
Yes. By the construction, and I should mention this, with the construction, the investment that South 32 has put into the ground and are currently building out, their infrastructure, their underground infrastructure, will bring value into the Barksdale ground. How? It is very easy, having worked in underground mines, anyone who has, to understand that once you get that development underground completed, you can extend that development into another property or into another area just by drifting a tunnel over to where you want to go. In my experience in Chile, we started out with less than a kilometer of infrastructure underground at El Peñon. It ends up we had over 100 kilometers and probably still going of underground infrastructure. All you have to do is put a shaft, a ventilation shaft along the way, and that construction that could by South 32 actually will facilitate the development of our properties and bring value to our properties. I mean, that's very, it should be very well understood and observed.
Great.
Mm.
Okay, moving on to the next one. We have to be careful on answering this. We can't really speak for South 32, but what do you feel like the likelihood of them, buying this Sunnyside at some point down the road is?
Well, we plan to get to our 67.5%. We plan on following that program to get us there. We plan on drilling deeper deposits, and eventually, we don't have the expertise in house at this time, nor the funds to do it to construct a separate mine. So, would South 32 be interested? Perhaps. Would others be interested? Of course. So, there's with the potential for the mineralization on our property again. The near surface copper deposit, chalcocite deposits, which can be mined from underground, the porphyry deposits, which would be mined underground, and then the extensions of mineralization as South 32. We're going to, once we are able to demonstrate that those deposits are there, the value is going to come to Barksdale, and someone's going to, step up to the plate, so to speak.
Would you go into a little bit more about what the requirements are to get to the 67%?
Sure. So this is all available in the legal documents that you can find online, but it's very simple. Phase one, when we formed the joint venture under Arizona Standard, the holding company with Regal, we were immediately granted a 51% ownership of the property and Regal 49. To maintain that 51%, we had to make certain investments, spending on the property, and certain drill footage requirements. The spend requirement was $6 million over a 2-year period, which started in 2023, and once we received our permits, and so we've spent more than that. And the second stipulation was that we drill 25,000 feet. So we over the past 1.5 years, I suppose, we've accomplished the greater than 25,000 foot drill stipulation. And so now we're in the portion of the data review by Regal. And once they accept that we've accomplished those two stipulations in the contract, we need to pay $1 million Canadian and issue 5 million shares of Barksdale. To get to 67.5%, we have to drill another 25,000 feet and spend another $6 million plus, I believe it's pay at the end, 500,000 Canadian and 4.9 million shares being issued. What we've been able to accomplish, the contract stipulates that any excess spending in earning and maintain to the 51% can be rolled over into the phase 2 earn-in period. So we've actually spent more than the 6 million required for phase 2, and so our program that we have we're trying to put together for the fall will need to drill 25,000 feet. And once we have that footage accomplished. We'll present that. It'll be accepted, and we'll get to 67.5%.
Great. South 32, oh, where'd it go? South 32 is finding some opposition from environmental groups. How do we perceive this issue, and what do we do on our end?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's where Nancy Heiser comes in. We talked to them. Until recently, we've had a office in Patagonia to discuss the issues that they bring up. It's mining all over the world can, how should I say this? It can meet with opposition and work out differences in opinions. Now, South 32 has been operating under their permits and construction permits, exploration permits. They're doing an excellent job of community engagement. So far, we've had some pushback on our portion of the property mineral system from the community perspective. But you have to. I find that once you engage with the people and sit down and talk to them about their issues, there's a resolution to be made in many of the cases, and in some there you just can't rationalize mining operations with. But we do the best we can, and we operate fully under our permit and address every aspect of it to protect the environment, the flora and fauna as we can. We reclaim our roads, we reclaim our drill sites. We have zero discharge drill sites. Makes drilling a little bit easier, more difficult, but we do it, and we answer all the questions that we possibly can and try and come to a mutual resolution of issues.
I want to add one more thing on that. We're a pretty small team, and so we're really focused on being transparent, getting information out there, helping people understand exactly what we're doing. And we really feel that that's the best way to move forward. Being a responsible exploration company, certainly, William kind of, mentioned that, it takes a little bit extra time, but we just feel that we do things the right way and commit to our communities and the environment with everything moving forward. Okay. So I kind of want to bundle up a couple of questions here. So what is our drilling costs? Do we have a per meter or do we know what a per meter cost is? And then what's the sort of strategy moving forward after the fall drilling campaign into 26 and heading towards a PEA or a pre-feasibility? What's that strategy look like?
Right. So drilling costs. The RC drilling program that we recently completed was about $70. $70 a foot, and that's US, all in. Okay, and that's a pretty good cost. I mean, we did a program in a month's time, and for a pretty good cost, a decent cost, anyways. They were deeper holes, 2,000-foot holes, or 1,500 to 2,000 foot, and so we did. Costs were contained, and that's RC. Core, of course, is much more expensive. With core, especially, we'd be utilizing core to reach the deeper deposits of the Taylor and the Peak deposits. That cost could go up to $400 a foot as you get deeper. The near surface stuff is much less expensive, but as you get deeper, it takes more time to drill, to pull the rods, to change the bits, to all this. And when you're looking at a 5,000-foot hole, that takes time, and time obviously is money. I think some of the holes can go easily over $1 million.
And what's our 26 ballpark back of the envelope plan look like?
Well, yeah. So we got to get the phase two earn-in completed, and once we do that, we're looking at getting access to drill the Peak deposit and the up dip portion of it, which we think we can access from our ground, and we look to drill further on the Taylor deposit as well. These are costly holes. They require much greater arrays than we have had in the past. So yeah, we're going to tap into those. Focus on the Peak deposit initially, and if we hit it, we'd stay on that deposit until until we run out of money. Quite frankly, I mean that's a great deposit. It's going to be it's close. It's more close. It's closer to the surface for testing than say the Taylor deposit is at this point. So we'd focus on Peak first.
Great. What sort of unanswered questions do you have, or what's keeping you up at night that you want to share?
Well, what is keeping me up at night? I stepping into a CEO position confirmed my thoughts of it during my entire career. This is one of the most difficult positions in the industry. You have to plan, you have to keep shareholders happy, you have to grow the company. There's a lot of aspects to it, and every one of those keeps me up at night. The most what I worry about the most certainly is the shareholder value, and the decline in the value of the stock. It's completely unwarranted. The street can be brutal to small companies like Barksdale, and that's where communications comes in which is why we brought Ira on to help with the communications, to help explain what our goals are. My goal is to bring shareholder value back to Barksdale, and to do it in any way, shape, or form we can. I know there was a big disappointment and big drop in the value when we lost the holes from the Sun 24 drill program 002-002B, and we just got some terms. I mean, the stock price just got hammered, and it's really. I mean, we hit some very good mineralization. It was described, I think, by Peter McGaw as well. We hit the exhaust of the system. Well, we didn't hit the exhaust of the system, in my opinion. We hit a very good 10-meter. Think of that, 10-meter, 30-foot interval of great grades, 0.6 copper, 4.5% copper, lead zinc. I mean, manganese. We hit it. We didn't intentionally end the hole there. The hole would have continued on, but operational issues ensued, and we had to end the hole. I mean, so we got hammered, and there's great upside here. It's incredible, the upside, and the loss of value is completely unwarranted. And I'm trying to convince anyone who will listen that we can bring this back. And with South 32 constructing their mine, with our deposits literally a stone's throw away, And the discrepancy in valuation is stunning. I mean, you have 4 billion on one side of the property and you have 15 million on the other. That is not justified. That's ridiculous. And so we're working hard to try and get that message across and bring value back. And that's what keeps me up at night.
Um, so definitely the hard question right now is what do we have money for? What do we need? How are we going to do it? A couple questions about dilution and fundraising and what's the plan moving forward?
Well, like, I can say this. We have irons in the fire. One of the goals certainly is to stop the dilution. Um, as a junior company, the stock issuance of more stock to raise money works well in the beginning, but as you dilute and further dilute your shareholders, you support without a major discovery or hopes of a major discovery really diminishes and your share value go down. We want to avoid issuance of shares. We're trying to come up with other ways of raising money. Yes, we certainly raise money, need money. We need money for the fall drill program to complete. We can't do it on our current treasury balance, but we think we have avenues, several, to raise money and accomplish that program, which would be, I don't know, 2.5 million Canadian program, somewhere in there. But we'd like to have more than that. This raise spend cycle really needs to end, and we're working towards minimizing further dilution. That's all I can say at this time.
All right. Well, we're going to get wrapped up here pretty quick. Any last minute comments, William, that you want to make?
Well, as I said, the presentation, I hope you got the idea that, hey, we're in the textbook case model area for copper porphyry style and associated mineralization. We have copper mineralization on our property. We have some fantastic, if you look at those slides, intervals drilled by Asarco and others over the years that show copper mineralization. We have great opportunities that aren't found on South 32's property with the chalcocite near surface mineralization, and then extensions of depth of their mineral bodies. I think we're completely undervalued. Truly, I worry about the shareholders every day, every minute of the day, and try how can we bring value back to Barksdale. Our road going forward, get to 67.5%, then get to demonstrating drilling the peak deposit on our property, and let's get value back, and let's get support, and let's get the project out there. I really truly feel for all the shareholders, long-term shareholders, and I'm working for you guys and trying to make this bring value back to this company again.
Well, great. We're not going to get to all the questions. There's several of them that are coming in at the last minute. And please feel free to shoot me an email. You can restate your question. I actually can't pull them out with your email address out of the platform. So shoot me an email, resend those questions. I will get you the answers that you need, and we will do this again. I hope this has been valuable. Please keep an eye on our LinkedIn, and you should be getting our monthly newsletter. So I'll actually repost some of these questions in the newsletter so we can share the answers with everybody. And thank you for attending today. And we'll log off now and wish everybody a great week and let everybody get back to work. We'll talk to you all very soon. Thank you.